Your Friends and Neighbors Season 1's Episode 6 begins on an optimistic note for Jon Hamm's Andrew Cooper, where things finally start to look up. However, just when the character believes things will change for the better, everything suddenly falls apart before the episode's end credits start rolling. The original Apple TV Plus show's Episode 6 is among the few installments in the series where the Jon Hamm character does not steal from his neighbors. He seems to learn from his past mistakes and realizes that he must avoid getting himself involved in any more trouble. Cooper also finds the opportunity to fix his relationship with his family. To his surprise, his wife, Mel, even shows some enthusiasm towards getting back with him. Unfortunately, with his previous criminal endeavors, Cooper seems to have caused enough damage to find full redemption. Therefore, before the episode ends on a high note for him, he finally seems to face the first line of consequences for his actions. Who attacked Andrew Cooper in Your Friends and Neighbors Episode 6 ending? The art dealer, Christian, orchestrated the attack. As soon as Cooper reaches his car in Your Friends and Neighbors Episode 6 ending moments, a few men attack him and beat him to the ground. This is when Cooper catches a glimpse of Christian, the art dealer he had confronted in Episode 5. The attack confirms that no one, so far, has learned about his stealing endeavors. The art dealer only held a personal grudge against him after the night at the club and only wanted to get back at him. Cooper seemingly sustains many injuries after the attack, but he ends up surviving. Ending up in the crosshairs of someone wealthy and influential like Christian may not end well for Cooper. However, as the episode's closing scene suggests, Cooper will now have even bigger problems to deal with, and he might have to get back to stealing. Barney's fate explained. It seems unlikely that Barney is dead. Hoon Lee as Barney Choi in Your Friends and Neighbors. When Barney sees Cooper getting beaten up by Christian's goons, he rushes to the scene to save Cooper. However, a speeding vehicle suddenly hits him and leaves him unconscious on the ground. Before the episode ends, viewers can see Barney's wife crying over his body and asking him to wake up. This raises the possibility that Barney might have died. If this holds true, it is hard not to be curious about where the show intends to go from here. A more likely possibility is that Barney is still alive but severely injured. In the next episode, he will probably end up in the hospital, but his wife will struggle to pay for his bills. Your Friends and Neighbors Episode 5 established that after Cooper's fall from grace, Barney, too, was financially struggling because Cooper was his biggest client. If Barney is unable to pay for Cooper's hospital bills, it will come down to Cooper to save his attorney. This would force Cooper to get back to stealing to be able to provide for his family and pay for Barney's recovery. He might even hold himself accountable for Barney's fate because his stealing endeavors spiraled towards the accident. Who killed Paul? Paul's killer's identity remains unknown. Olivia Munn smiling as she is looking at someone in Your Friends and Neighbors. After recent developments, Your Friends and Neighbors has partially turned into a murder mystery, where, as a viewer, it is hard not to theorize who might have killed Paul. Paul's wife, Sam, is certainly one of the key suspects. However, given how she has a solid alibi, it seems unlikely she might have committed the crime. Since the show is unfolding from Cooper's perspective, and so far, he has been a reliable narrator, he, too, has nothing to do with the murder. Sam might still have been indirectly involved and may have hired someone to kill Paul. She was increasingly resentful of her ex-husband, which might have driven her to commit the crime. Her involvement in the murder, however, would be a little too obvious and predictable, which makes her less of a suspect. Paul's new partner could have committed the crime, given how Paul was already having many rifts with her. Then again, she is too insignificant as a character to be portrayed as the killer. Although the murder mystery remains unsolved, evidence from the crime scene might lead law enforcers in Cooper's direction. When that happens, Cooper might have to come clean about his own unlawful pursuits. Will Mel and Andrew get back together after Your Friends and Neighbors Episode 6? Mel is too confused to return to Andrew. Both Andrew and Mel find themselves falling for one another again after spending a day together. The Your Friends and Neighbors characters also open up about feeling guilty for letting their relationship fail. However, despite this, it seems unlikely that they will get back anytime soon. Although Cooper sees a ray of hope when his ex-wife finally shows him how much she still loves him, he seems to have dug a little too deep into his own lies and misdeeds to climb out without serious consequences. The consequences have already started emerging and will only get more severe as the Apple TV Plus show progresses. To be able to get his old life back again, Cooper will not only have to fix his relationship with his family but also undo all the damage he has caused with his criminal activities. From the looks of it, Cooper will likely start stealing again instead of setting out to change his ways. Why Mel steals jam in Your Friends and Neighbors Episode 6? Like Cooper, Mel is tired of the lifestyle she has created for herself. Amanda Peet touching apples at a story in Your Friends and Neighbors. Mel steals a jam bottle from a store. When the shopkeeper confronts her, Cooper protects her by squaring up to him. To Cooper's surprise, Mel later confesses that she did steal from the store. This suggests that, like Cooper, Mel, too, is starting to grow sick and tired of the life she and her ex-husband have created for themselves. She struggles to free herself from societal expectations and the material world that defines her identity. Similar to Cooper, she hopes to find some peace and normalcy for once. Therefore, by stealing the jam in Your Friends and Neighbors episode 6, she proves she is a lot like her ex-husband.